Look at this word, brother. Kharaja. Kharaja. What is the meaning of it? He left. He went out. What is this, brother? What? It is verb. Oh, the verb has come for the first time. We must celebrate. This is the first word that has come in front of us, brother. We must stop everything. Kharaja. He left. Brother, what is the Arabic of he? Huwa. Is huwa there? Where is it then? Brother, this is a verb. What is it? What is the verb? Action. If there is an action, there is always a doer of action. Action cannot take place without someone doing it. If action takes place without someone doing it, then it is a miracle. Only Allah can do miracles. For us to do something, we have to do an action. So whenever there is an action, there has to be a doer of action. What is it? Doer of action. Fine. What is action called in Arabic? Fi'alun. What is fi'alun? Verb. Verb. Okay. And the doer of action is called in Arabic fa'ilun. What is it called in English? Subject. What is it called in English? Subject of the verb. Are you with me, brothers and sisters? Whenever, Brother Abdul Qadir, there is a verb, there has to be the subject, brother. They have a special relationship. The verb cannot exist without a subject. They both are always together. Is it clear, brothers and sisters? Fine. Kharaja. Okay. You translated as he left. But I don't see who are there. I said it has to be there. Where is it, Sister Salma? The doer of the action is hidden inside the verb. What is it? It's hidden inside the verb. So we call it, where is the file? I ask you the question, where is the file? You will say, mustatir. What will you say? Mustatir. What is the meaning of mustatir? It's hidden. Where is it hidden? Inside the verb. Our mind can see, but our eyes cannot see. Are you with me, brother? Where is the file? Is mustatirun. What is the English, brother? Hidden. Got the idea, brothers and sisters? Or you can say, for the first few days you can say hidden. Later on we'll say mustatir. Okay. In what form is the file mustatir? It's damir, pronoun. He. Kharaja. Huwa kharaja. So damir mustatir. Pronoun which is hidden. See, because it is he left. Are you with me, brothers and sisters? Kharaja, what is the meaning in English? He left. So he is a damir. Is a pronoun. So pronoun is hidden. So for he is damir. So if I say kharaja, where is the file? Damirun mustatirun. Damirun mustatirun. Means the file is in the form of a damir and it is hidden. Are you with me, brothers and sisters? Okay. Now, I want to tell you something very special about verbs, brother. I'm so glad that you are all here, and I'm going to tell you things you may not find in the books. Some of the explanation, when you think, when you work hard, and when you stumble, and you again work hard, and then things become clear to you, brothers and sisters. The detailed explanation you will not find. Only a teacher can guide you. Okay, brothers and sisters. So, I have to again say something to you, brothers and sisters. Everything good that I say is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If my feeble mind makes any mistakes, that is the fault of myself. Okay? And if I will make some mistakes, I may not be 100% perfect in my explanation. And if I am not, you will all forgive me, brother. But inshallah, Allah will guide me. Allah will help me to make it easy to explain to you. And Allah will make it easy for you to understand it, inshallah. Now we come to the most important thing. Look at kharaja. How many letters? 3 letters. Okay. Kha, ra, and then jim. 3-letter verb. All the verbs in Arabic language, 99.5%, can be traced to the root of 3 letters. All the verbs. They are all 3 letters. What is 0.05%? They are 4-letter verbs. Okay. And I just tell you, because some of you are Urdu speaking, so I tell you, you know the word tarjama? What is the meaning of tarjama? To translate. See, tarjama. How many letters? So that is a 4-letter word. Are you with me? Okay. And then in the Quran, you are very familiar with the word waswasa. What is it? 4-letter word. But there are very few. Again, one more example I give you. Zalzala. What is the meaning of zalzala? To shake. Okay, so what is zalzala? 4-letter verb. But there are few. 99.5% verbs are 3-letter verbs. Brothers and sisters? 3-letter verbs. You can trace it back. Take any verb in the Arabic language and you can go back to its root of 3 letters. So what scholars of Arabic language have done, they have given this a pattern. What is the pattern? Fa, a, la. That is the pattern. And it comes from fi'al. It comes from fi'al. What is it? Every verb in Arabic language has this pattern. What is the pattern? Fa'ala. Fa'ala. Brother? Brother Abdul Qadir, very few people will go in this much detail. So you learn properly and inshallah you will, then explain to others all these things, Fa'ala. Are you with me, brothers and sisters? So in the word, in any verb, brothers and sisters, the root, we can go to the fa'ala. Okay? Now we call it fa kalima. Are you with me? Fa kalima. And what will you call ra? Ain kalima. So 3 letters. Take any verb. It will be fa kalima, ain kalima, and lam kalima. But because we live in a society which speaks English all the time, and then we have to teach our children these things, so we can also refer to in the English language. What is this called in English? First radical. What is it called? First radical. First radical. Are you with me? What do you call it? First radical. Okay, if this is first radical, what is this? And what is this? Third radical. Always so. The root of the verb is either in 3 radicals, first, second, and third radical. Are you with me, brother and sister? Or if you go to Arabic, fa kalima, ain kalima, and lam kalima. Any verb that you take, brother. Any verb. I'm so happy to meet some of my students, brother. When we sit down and do analysis of the Quran, we pick up a sentence in the Quran and we try to analyze it and understand how the sentence was constructed. And you come across verb, and these students are able to trace it back to the root. It's so beautiful, brother. Inshallah, you will do it. You will all become expert. You and I, we may not speak Arabic fluently, but we will become master of Arabic verbs. Inshallah. We will know Arabic verbs left and right. And brother, people run away from Arabic verbs. Huh? They say, Arabic verbs? Oh, it's difficult. No, brothers and sisters, Arabic words are beautiful. They are fascinating. They are enjoyable. Now I want you to look at the difference. Brother? Kharaja, now I'm writing. Zahaba, then I'm writing. Jalasa, and then I'm writing. Raja. Do you see here, brother? What do you see? Fa kalima, Ain kalima, Lam kalima. Now I write down something else. I write down here two very popular verbs. Samiya, and then I'm writing Shariba. Okay, brothers and sisters? Samiya. What is the meaning of Samiya? He heard. Or he listened. Shariba. He drank. Okay? Fine. What do you see here? Fa kalima, Ain kalima, Lam kalima. First radical, second radical, third radical. Okay? Are you with me? Now I write down two more verbs, brother. Karuma. And I'm writing another word here. Ba'uda. Okay? Fa kalima, Ain kalima, Lam kalima. First radical, second radical, third radical. Are you with me, brothers and sisters? Now, if you were to observe this, you will find something. And I told you last time, that Fa kalima in all of them has a fatah. And the Lam kalima, all of them has a fatah. So that is the rule. All the verbs, the root, in the root form, Fa kalima will always have a fatah. And Lam kalima will always have a fatah. And what about Ain kalima? Ain kalima can have these three vowel signs. It can have a fatah, it can have a kasra, and it can have a dhamma. So this we have to be very observant, you know. For example, Samiya, see the Ain kalima has a kasra. Shariba, Ain kalima has a kasra. Karuma, Ain kalima has a dhamma. Ba'uda, Ain kalima has a dhamma. So watch for it, okay. Now, these verbs are called healthy verbs. What are they called? Healthy verbs. Al-fi'lu sahih. Healthy verbs. But if something is healthy, then it has to be somebody who is very weak or sick. Because for a healthy person, there is also someone who is not healthy, which means he is sick. So there are some verbs which are called weak verbs. I won't call them sick verbs. They are all weak verbs. Now this is just a general information. Any verb, brother and sister, whether it has Fa kalima or Ain kalima or Lam kalima, if it has Vav and Ya, are you with me? If it has Vav and Ya, then it is a weak verb. What is it? It's called weak verb. In the meantime, we'll become stronger in our Sahih verbs, in which verb there will be no Vav, there will be no Ya. Huh? There will be no vav. As you can see, I didn't put any with vav and ya. Okay? So keep that in mind. Okay, now brother, we start the conjugation. This is slowly, I'm building you up, And we are only doing fi'l madi, past tense. We will not touch mudariya. We will only do fi'l madi. Okay? So, we start with huwa. And then I write down huma. And then we are doing hum. Now this is, brothers and sisters, third person masculine. And then I am doing here, and then I am doing here, huma. Okay? And then I am stopping here. All the verbs in the root form that I wrote previously, I said, he sat, he went, he left, he drank. Okay, I said he. So what is the meaning of it, brother? In the root form, which is past tense, it is always singular, third person, masculine. No discrimination, brother and sisters, but that's the way the language is. It is always huwa. We start with huwa. Take any verb, it will always be huwa. Masculine, third person, and singular. Huwa is third person, it's masculine, and it is singular. So keep that in mind. That is why we start with a huwa. I will start with zahaba now. Are you with me, brothers and sisters? Zahab. This is again I'm repeating because it's good to repeat, you will get stronger. Okay, zahaba is fi'al. What is the meaning of fi'al? Action. If there is a fi'al, if there is an action, there has to be a doer of action. You cannot have an action without somebody doing it, brother. And what is the doer of action called? Fa'il. You will remember this. Fa'il. What do I call fa'il in English? Subject. Okay, brothers and sisters? So, now, as I said, if there is an action, there has to be a doer of action. So, dhahaba. Okay? Dhahaba. Where is the fa'il? Mustatir. What we call it? Mustatir. Remember this word, mustatir, means hidden. Mustatir means hidden. Okay? Hidden. Okay? Fine. I am putting a star here. Okay? Now, how do I say two people went? Look at it. First, I write down the verb. Zahaba. And then I say to it, alif. What is it now, brother? Zahaba. Okay, where is the verb? Where is the verb? Zahaba. Where is the fa'il? Alif. Because I added. So now the fa'il is a part of it. Part of they are together. This is a very beautiful thing in Arabic language, brother and sister. Okay, brother, next one. Hum. First I write down the verb, zahaba. Okay. Now I'm adding waw. I'm adding waw with a sukoon. And brothers and sisters, this alif is a spelling rule for the time being. This is alif. Whenever you will have hum, then you will see alif also written. Okay, brother. Because of waw, I changed this fatha into dhamma. So this is zahabu. Are you with me? This is zahabu. Where is the fa'il? Wow. Where is the fi'al? Zahabu. Without waw, zahabu. Where is the fa'il? Wow. Now remember, these are pronouns and these I'm putting are also pronoun because alif is equal to huma, and waw is equal to hum. Okay. Now I say zahaba. Okay, and then I'm putting here open ta with a sukun. How do you pronounce it? Zahabat. Zahabat. What is this ta? Ta'utanisi. What does it tell me? That the doer of the action was this time a feminine. Okay. Where is the file? Mustatir. Never ever say this is file. Brother, I have a very weak heart. I'll get a heart attack. Okay. This is ta'utanisi. Where is the file? I'll put a star. It means it is mustatir. Fine, brother. Now I say to you, zahaba, and then I put ta here. Now, brother, I put alif. I put alif. Because I put alif there, then I have to make this into fatah. So it became zahabata. Tell me one thing. Where is the verb? Zahaba. Zahaba. What is the next thing? Ta'utanisi. And what is the next thing? File. So see, this has got three sections. Fi'al, ta'utanisi, and file. Remember this, brother.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Welcome to an introduction to morphology. Morphology in Arabic is known as ilm al-sarf or at-tasrif. Now, morphology is a fundamental aspect of the Arabic language that deals with the study of base letters or patterns of words. Now, in these introductory lessons, we will explore the basics of Arabic morphology. It's actually a very necessary science. Now, what is morphology exactly? It's related to how words are formed from base letters, and they're usually 3 base letters. These 3 base letters are then put on certain patterns to give similar meanings. Let's get an example. I have the past tense verb, fataha. Fataha means he opened. We can also add letters to the 3 base letters. And then I can get the present tense verb, yaftahu, which is he is opening. And this ya here, we'll later understand, is a sign that this is a mudara or a present tense verb. And notice the harakat change from the past tense to the present tense. There's a change. So the science of morphology deals with that as well, these changes in the vowels. We have, for example, the word maftuh. Maftuh. Here we've added a meme and a waw. And these types of words are known as, in Arabic we call it ism maf'ul, in English the passive participle. And this means opened. So if I said, for example, al-babu maftuhun, the door is open. We have, for example, Suratul Fatiha. Literally, it means the opener, that which opens the Quran. Fatiha. And the ta marbota here is the sign of femininity. So that's one aspect of morphology. Now, when we talk about changes of the last letter or inflection, that's actually related to grammar. That last letter that changes determines the grammatical state of the word. That change actually is not part of morphology. This is part of grammar. And it's to do with declension of words. When we're speaking of vowels, we're speaking of the vowels on the other letters, not the last letter, which changes in the same word. Now we have a root system. These 3 base letters, they're called the jadr, the roots of a word. Now let's take, for example, a word, the word al-maghdub. That's similar. Notice, maftuh, maghdub. So what do we know? This is a passive participle. It's the one where anger is directed to. What is the jadr? What's the jadr of this word? It's ghadaba. The ghain, the dad, and the ba. That's the 3 base letters. Most words will be 3 base letters. And some, a small percentage, will be 4 base letters. Like, for example, the word zalzala. That's in the Quran, zalzala, which means it shook violently. Now, with morphology, also we have al-awzan, which are patterns of words, and as we spoke about it. As an example, if we take this pattern, maf'al, where the fa is the first radical, ain is the second radical, and lam is the third radical. Words on these patterns denote the place where an action takes place. La'iba, to play. And so the mal'ab is the place of playing or amusement. So it's the playground or amusement park. We'll take another jadr. Shariba, it means to drink. And if we put these 3 base letters in this pattern of maf'al, we get mashrab, the place of drinking. So you can see that we have a pattern that denotes the place where an action is being carried out. So knowing these patterns actually greatly enhances our vocabulary. And just by knowing the 3 base letters, one can get a very good idea of what a word means, just by the pattern that it's on. Another point with base letters is if we take words that share the same 3 base letters, there will be a relationship between those words. There'll be some connected meaning based on those 3 base letters. With most, you'll see the similarity. It's very easy to. Some of them actually require a bit more tadabbur, reflection. Morphology also relates to things like dual and plural forms, the muthanna and the jama', and how they're formed as well. And there's different types of jama'. We'll also discover different types of plurals. Something else that's found in sarf, which some of you may enjoy and others not so much, are the conjugations. And they occur mostly with verbs. We also have different types of derived nouns, different forms of the verbal noun, different forms of the adjective, the noun of place, the noun of time, and so many others. So there's a very strong connection with morphology and grammar. And in fact, you need to know both. Which one should you know first? I'm of the opinion is to learn some sarf, just basic sarf, and then start grammar. Learn sarf and grammar as you go along. However, with grammar, maybe you can actually advance further on until you require the knowledge in the sarf, which, most of the times you'll need a good level of Arabic grammar to be able to apply what you learn in sarf. Because sometimes when you learn the rules in sarf, you have no way of seeing it being used in a sentence, for example, how it's used, the different variations of what you learn in sarf. So it depends on the person and how he's being taught. But that's the way that I generally like to do it. Now, as I said, in conclusion, morphology is an essential aspect of Arabic linguistics. And this is just the introduction. And inshallah, we'll be starting ilm al-sarf in the next lesson. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Okay, this is our second lesson on ilm al-sarf, the science of morphology. In this lesson, we'll be learning about al-fi'l al-madi, which is the past tense verb. Now, before we get into that, I just want to explain a few things. So if we take any past tense verb in its base form, we're speaking of one person who is masculine and the verb has already been completed. So it's actually speaking about the verb being done in the past. So as an example, let's take jalasa Muhammad. Muhammad sat. The verb is put in front. Now, we'll discover later on, actually, in Arabic, you can actually change the positions. So Muhammadun jalasa is also grammatically correct. And it has a slightly different meaning. And there are nuances that one learns later on when one gets into more advanced Arabic. But the point is, we have the verb jalasa. And who is the doer of this action? It's Muhammad. Muhammad sat. This is what's known as an intransitive verb. Now, what does intransitive mean? It's an action that is only performed by the doer of the action. So Muhammad sat. An example of a transitive verb is nasara. So if I said, nasara Muhammadun Khalidan. Nasara means he helped. So it would be Muhammad helped Khalid. So the act of helping was already done in the past, and it was done by Muhammad, and the recipient of the help was Khalid. So when there is a recipient of the action, it could be a human, it could be an object, whatever it is, we call this type of verb transitive. And it's important to know the difference there. Another difference is the difference between active and passive. And this is why I mentioned the transitive and intransitive verbs, the active voice and the passive voice. We're going to be concentrating on the active voice. So what is the active voice? It's when the doer of the action, the one who is performing the action, in this case Muhammad, he's actually mentioned. So Muhammad helped Khalid. When we look at the passive voice, we take the doer out. Not that there is no doer, but that the doer is not mentioned. So we say, Nusira Khalidun. And notice the actual grammatical state changes. We'll talk about this later on in grammar in more detail. But I just want to draw attention to this. When we talk about the passive voice, we use, in this case, Nusira. Don't worry about the change in the vowels there. But what it means here, Khalid was helped. So Nusira Khalidun means that Khalid was helped. But we don't know who helped him. Somebody helped him, but we don't know who that person is. And in fact, it could have been more than one person that helped Khalid. And in this case, the verb would not change. So Nusira is he was helped. Who did the helping? It's not mentioned. So we're not talking about the passive voice. We'll be speaking about the active voice. Okay, so that's a point there. So any active voice, past tense verb, will have the three base letters. All past tense verbs will actually be represented by the following. So each of these letters represent the three letters of any past tense verb. So the first radical, which we call the fa kalima, the fa of the word, is the first letter. The ain of the word, or ain kalima, is the second radical. And the lam kalima, the lam of the word, is the third radical. So that's just some terminology there. Now what you notice on the fa and the lam is a fatha. This is because the past tense verb will always have a fatha on the first letter and the third letter. And we talk about, as we said, the active voice. It will always be the case. No exceptions. And what varies is the vowel, the haraka, on the second letter. This could be either a fatha, a kasra, or a dhamma. Which one is it? This is based on the usage of the Arabs, especially what we find in the Quran. Now, how do we actually know what the harakat will be? Because in Arabic script, usually the harakat, the vowels, are not written down. So if we actually come across a verb, it's three letters. How are we going to know how to pronounce it? Now, a good way to find out is to actually use a dictionary. Try to find a dictionary that actually mentions what the haraka is. A popular dictionary that students use is the Hans Wehr dictionary. So as an example, if we go to, we have the sheen, the ha, and the ra. And here we can see from these letters, the a after the sheen, and there's an a after the ha, and there's an a after the ra. So that would be shahara. He was well known. He was famous. Now if we look at this entry here, we have the sheen, the ha, and the dal. if we look at this entry, what do we see? We understand that the first and third radical both have the A, but the middle here, there's an I here, which represents a kasra. So it's shahida, which means he was a witness. And here, in this entry, after the sin, there's a U. It's hasuna. So what does hasuna mean? If we look at the entry, it says to be handsome. So he was handsome, beautiful, lovely, nice, good, or even it was good, fine, suitable, proper, and so on. So that can be used for both the intelligent and the non-intelligent. Now, when it comes to intelligence, we are speaking of human beings. Everything else on the earth will be considered non-intelligent. That letter next to it, that's related to the present tense verb. We'll cover that later on. We have, for example, sami'a, which means he heard. The middle letter gets a kasra. Another verb, shariba, he drank. And the ra, which is the middle letter, also gets a kasra. Now, can you guess these two verbs, sami'a and shariba, are they transitive or intransitive? You probably guessed it. They're transitive. Because he heard, you could ask, what did he hear? Or who did he hear? So the who or what, asking this question, shows that it is a transitive verb. Similarly, he drank. What did he drink? And so we understand it's transitive. Also, with some base letters, we can have more than one past tense verb form. So as an example, we have these two verbs, labisa and labasa. Now they are both related meanings. One of them means he wore, and that's transitive. So what did he wear? He wore clothes, for example. And it can also be used metaphorically as well, to wear something. Like when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he talks about libasu taqwa, the covering of at-taqwa, of God consciousness. But we also have labasa. Labasa means it was obscure, or it was confusing. So the matter was not clear, in other words. It became confused. And the relationship between these two would be that when something is covered over with something else, it becomes unclear. But the point is, we have two verb forms here. One with the middle radical being a fatha, and one of them being a kasra. Now, if you were to go to the Hanswehr dictionary and look up this entry, you will only find lebise. It doesn't mention there is a different verb form for both of these meanings. Both meanings are mentioned in the dictionary, but under one verb form. So the reason for this is that the Hanswehr dictionary is a dictionary of modern standard Arabic, not Quranic Arabic. So I just wanted to mention that point and highlight a limitation of this dictionary. Now, the Hanswehr dictionary will suffice most students in their studies. And obviously, when you study the Quran is at a different level, which will require more in-depth resources and to learn from those who have the knowledge. Assalamu alaikum, dear learners. Today's lesson will introduce you to a fundamental Arabic rule and showcase its application through verses from the Quran. Let's explore the rule of noun-adjective agreement. In Arabic, the adjective must agree with the noun it describes in 4 matters. What are these matters? 1, the number. So in Arabic, nouns can be either singular, dual, or plural. And an adjective needs to agree with the noun it describes in number. It also agrees with gender. The example given here, al-baytu al-kabiru, which means the big house. They are both masculine nouns. They agree in number. Here they're both singular. With gender, they are both masculine. The third type of agreement is whether they are definite or indefinite. They are both definite. Al-baytu and al-kabiru. The al, which is a sign of definiteness. And they agree with declension, or we could say case ending. So what vowel is located on the last letter? In this case, both of these words end with a dhamma. So they agree in the vowel at the end of the word. This is known as al-i'rab, and this is a big topic in Arabic grammar. And it's what gives grammar its vastness, is when we change the ending of words. And this is one of the main topics in Arabic grammar. And this is what makes it so interesting. Inshallah, we'll discuss this later on. Now we get to the interesting part, where we actually look at this rule in the Quran. So the first ayah is found in Surah Al-Fatiha. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. الصراط and المستقيم. So if we look, both words are singular. Both are masculine. Both are definite with al. And if you look at the last letter on both words, it ends with a fatha. And the reason for this is explained later on in Arabic grammar, that as-sirat is coming as an object of the verb ihdina. So guide us to the straight path. It's what we're guided to, inshallah ta'ala. Now, an interesting part, and this is related to another science. So I mentioned briefly i'rab, it's related to grammar. There's another more advanced topic. It's what gives the beauty of language. And this science is known as ilmul balagha, the science of rhetoric. If you look at the translation, it's guide us to the straight path. But in Arabic, to is ila. So it should have been ihdina ila as-sirat al-mustaqim. And it should have been with a kasra, sirati al-mustaqimi, when you add the ila. But what's happened is this ila has been taken away, omitted, for a rhetorical reason. And the reason scholars give, it actually adds extra meaning. If it was ihdina ila sirat al-mustaqim, guide us to the straight path, which means that we're not on the straight path. Ya Allah, guide us to it. But when you omit it, it has this meaning. You could estimate ila and ala. And ihdina ala sirat al-mustaqim means guide us on it. So when we've reached it and we're on this sirat al-mustaqim, keep us steadfast on this path. So in Surah Al-Fatiha, when we say ihdina sirat al-mustaqim, we're asking for two things: to guide us to the path and to remain steadfast on the path as well. Let's get to another example. وَهَذَا الْبَلَدِ الْأَمِينَ. Notice here, al-balad, it's masculine, singular, definite, and ends with a kasra. And the same thing with al-amin. Al-amin means it's describing the city, and the city is Mecca. So here it's definite, it's singular, masculine, and ends with a kasra. Amin means secure. Here we're describing the city. The final example is in Surah Al-Ghashiyah, Ayah 10. في جنة عالية. Notice here, Jannah is indefinite. Aliyah is also indefinite. And they're both feminine they have the ta marbuta, which is a sign of femininity. They're singular, feminine, and they both end with 2 kasras. So fi jannatin aliyah, in an elevated garden. And one of the usages, we'll find out, this is later on, but I'll mention it here. One of the usages of indefiniteness, it's not just to make something indefinite, but if you think about it, when something is undefined, it's too great to define it. So a way to translate this would be in a magnificent, elevated garden. A garden that cannot be defined. And that completes the lesson. We hope you enjoyed the lesson. Until next time, bi'idhnillah, assalamu alaikum